Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just rise to make a few points in support of my colleague, the member for Wright, and also to speak against the minister's proposed amendment to what the upper house has agreed to. Mr. Speaker, having heard what the minister has said in support of her amendment, I think it misses a very important point. One of the most important points here is that the part of the role of this new behaviour panel is designed to also, down the track, change or alter the culture of organisations. The idea through the panel, you actually will hopefully change the way councils operate, and you change that culture which exists at the moment over time. So it is important that an important stakeholder in local government are employees. Employees are an important stakeholder in local government. Now, I'm at a loss to understand why a panel comprising a nominee of the LGA, a nominee of the LGA and the minister where they agree, and a nominee of the minister is more impartial than the panel we actually add, and I use the words in the proposed in the bill, a member nominated by a registered industrial association that represents the interests of employees. One would think by adding this, you actually make a much more balanced panel. You actually have all the interests of local government represented, the minister on behalf of the state and, if you like, the community, the LGA on behalf of the local government, and the addition of an industrial organisation nominee would actually make a much more balanced panel. And I don't accept, as the minister has tried to imply, and as the member Wright has quite rightly said, a nominee from the industrial organisation would make this panel any less impartial or independent. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, this sort of model was used in a whole range of government organisations and involved in the public sector. I used to sit as a panel member on various grievances and panels in the Commonwealth Government when I was a Commonwealth public servant, and I was a member of my industrial organisation. And we sat on a number of grievances and a whole range of appeal processes, and that was upheld as a very fair system. In fact, it acknowledged that employees are an important part of organisations. And all this amendment does acknowledges that when we come to councils, an important stakeholder, or a third of the stakeholder, are the council employees. You have the council members, you have the employees, and then you have the community as well. So, in fact, the amendment moved in the upper house by my party representative, the shadow minister there, I think actually strengthens this bill, strengthens this proposal clause, and actually strengthens the whole proposal, and one which would be accepted by all in the sector. So I think, you know, when you hear some other members on the government side talk about these things in the past, the only conclusion is that they don't like unions. They don't want unions involved in any way. Certainly another member of the front benches on an ongoing basis has reflected those views in this chamber, and I would hope that the Minister for Local Government isn't going to take on those sort of views in her portfolio.